Video games are serious business, or at least that's what the internet tells me. They're a billion-dollar market with ties to many other industries, but usually messing around in your favorite game doesn't lead to legal action.
Stop.
Which is not the case with today's topic. So settle in for a case that saw a group of gamers dig too deep, one which started with fun and ended with theft, industrial espionage, international fugitives, fatalities, and the flagship series for one of the biggest tech companies in the world. This episode deals with a topic that may be contentious to some, and which delves into the realm of potentially problematic, even illegal behavior. We're not lawyers, we're just looking at the topic from an unbiased perspective. Do not take anything we say as legal advice, and please do not send any hate to anyone listed in this video. With that out of the way, let's get into it. Our story starts with the crew, and like any crew, the Xbox Underground starts with the brains. In this case, one, David Xenomega Pokora, born in Mississauga, Canada. Pokora was playing computer games before he could read or write, according to Wired. He had made his own web browser by elementary school, and by 2002, he had entered the world of Xbox hacking. And it was through this world that he'd meet kindred spirits like Rowdy Van Cleef, the fixer of a certain sort, already a member of an Xbox hacker group. Van Cleef had heard that an electronics recycling facility had Xbox DVD drives on sale for cheap. He went looking for a deal and found a jackpot: Xbox 360 dev kit motherboards. Thousands of them. For those that don't know, a dev kit is a version of a console specifically made for game developers. They have additional permissions, including the ability to create programs for the console and to download early builds of games for quality assurance purposes through an industry network known as PartnerMat, also known as something you don't want the public to have. But for the Xbox hackers, this was the dream. Taking these motherboards, which were meant to be securely destroyed, they played unreleased builds of games and tried making and running their own programs. Pokora managed to impress Van Cleef enough to score a motherboard for himself and a few others allegedly, acting as a motherboard salesman for Van Cleef. Anthony Clark found Pokora through Halo modding sites and became fascinated by Pokora's posts, a skilled hacker himself. Clark could turn the Xbox's machine language into a proper programming language, and the two teens became fast friends. They even found ways to make money from their hobby. The two offered modded Call of Duty servers, with superpowers like flight or the ability to trace through walls for up to $100 per half hour. For a little more, they offered longer-term cheats they called infections. The business was lucrative to say the least. Reportedly, the two made up to $8,000 on busy days, and Pokora's action drew eyes to him. Eyes from people like Dylan Superday Wheeler, the wild card, an Australian teen. Wheeler was only 14 in 2010 when he got a hold of a list of Epic Game Forum usernames and passwords from a friend of his. Looking through the list, Wheeler discovered credentials belonging to an IT admin. Wheeler knew he had found something big, and he knew exactly who to bring it to. Pokora was interested, but he didn't want to just log into Epic's network from his own IP address. That's when he turned to another of the growing group. Sinad Sonic Neshuat had something the others didn't: a hacked modem that let him hide his location. Neshuat downloaded an early build of hit titled Gears of War 3. The group started playing the unfinished build and showing it to their friends. One of these was Justin MTW May, a hacker who had bought a dev kit motherboard from Pokora previously, but just days after showing May the build, it was leaked to torrent site The Pirate Bay, which is when Epic called the FBI. Needless to say, this freaked out the crew. In the words of Neshuat, they were just talking to each other, and the FBI agent was like, "Oh, I don't see any intrusions. I just see malware from South Africa or something like that." I'm like, okay, so they're not onto us, so let's stop while we're ahead. But not everyone played it safe while at the Boston PAX Gaming Convention. May saw a chance to sneak into the booth of Atomic Games and stole the code for the unreleased game breach. However, he was spotted by staff and arrested after trying to escape into the crowd. As time went on, the Xbox Underground added more members like Nathan LaRue, who had created a program to mimic fake coins to buy virtual items in the popular EA FIFA 2012. But compared to what was to come, this was all still small scale. Pokora started selling stolen pre-release copies of video games to a buyer known only as Xbox Dev Guy for a few $100s each. Now the team had a chance to get their hands on something worth tangible. While poking through internal Microsoft servers, the team had managed to dig up the specs on Xbox's upcoming project Durango, better known these days as the Xbox One. But instead of selling the information, the team came up with a different plan. They decided to build their own finding matching parts. The team had the components shipped to LaRue's house where the bootleg Xbox was assembled. They managed to find an Xbox hacking group out of the Seychelles who were willing to buy it for $5,000. The money went to LaRue, and May volunteered to ship the Xbox out. But it never made it to the Seychelles, and the team got nervous and more suspicious of May after they thought he may have been a traitor after his arrest at PAX, and they had good reason to be. While snooping around game devs, the Xbox Underground found something on Spec Ops Studio dev Zombie Studios. It was a link to U.S. military servers, which is where they got a Apache helicopter training simulator that attracted the attention of the U.S. Army themselves. With growing heat, the questions on how to end things rose, and for Wheeler, the answer seemed to be in a blaze of glory. He posted an eBay auction for a second bootleg Xbox One, which rose over $20,000 before eBay pulled the listing. The publicity of the led to a falling out between Wheeler and Pokora. With so many eyes on them, it was only a matter of time before the other boot dropped, and it dropped hard. LaRue was the first to going dark after being arrested by the FBI, granted bail, and tried to flee to Canada, where he ended up in a standoff with the Canadian border guards, which led to LaRue stabbing himself multiple times until he collapsed. Surviving LaRue was sentenced to 24 months in prison. During this time, LaRue came out as transgender and came out as Holly. According to the Darknet Diaries podcast, they lost their life in a hotel in Fresno, California. It was believed by local authorities that they took their own life, along with another woman. Neshiwat was the next to fall. In December 2012, the FBI traced him to the team and raided his home. He posted a copy of his warrant online, which Wheeler picked up and used to pump, to dox the special agent and judge involved in the case. Having drawn more attention, Wheeler was arrested by Australian police in an early morning raid, released on bail. Wheeler fled from Australia to his home country, the Czech Republic, resulting in his mother being arrested and sentenced to 18 months in prison for aiding in his escape. Pokora was arrested in 2014 while crossing the border into the USA to pick up a bumper for his project car, which May had held onto for him. Pokora and Neshiwat both were sentenced to 18 months in prison. After LaRue's arrest, Clark and another team member, Alcala, had started a business selling fake FIFA coins, which had blossomed into $1 million venture. Both were arrested for wire fraud. Alcala cooperated and faced only supervised release in a plea bargain. Clark passed away from a mixture of alcohol and prescriptions before his trail ended. His family insists it was not intentional. And for May, well, after the case closed, he was arrested on separate charges for scamming companies like Cisco and Microsoft out of millions of dollars worth of hardware. What had started as simple curiosity had turned into something bigger, something uglier. It had gone from a group of friends playing games to a mess or legal and moral offenses that destroyed lives and even ended some. In the end, well, maybe Pokora's words best sum it up. As much as I consciously made the decisions I did, I never meant for it to get as bad as it did. What it turned into, it's regrettable. Hey folks, and thanks you for watching the video, and thank you for the continued support. Have a beautiful day.